Chosen one, it is not by chance that you clicked on this video, but by destiny you have been brought here. They are playing a big game with you. When they see your greatness, they often try to undermine your confidence or cause internal conflict. A common tactic is to try to make you jealous. They want to create doubt in your mind and make you feel insecure about the relationships around you. Manipulators believe that by focusing your attention on someone else, perhaps by showing their attention to someone else, they can create division or sow seeds of doubt. They believe this will distract you from your purpose, making you jealous and distracted. When these manipulative individuals continue their tactics, they are inadvertently setting themselves up for failure. When they try to make someone else feel less important, they are actually revealing their own insecurities and lack of self-worth. This begins a cycle of self-destruction. They don't realize that they are only harming themselves. The chosen ones know that jealousy is a toxic emotion that does not serve them. They are secure in their path, knowing that their worth is not dependent on external validation or approval from others. They don't fall for manipulation. The chosen ones have the clarity to see past this veil and focus on what's most important. But the fire of jealousy that they want to ignite in your heart does not die out, and when their grand plan fails, they fall into the same trap they set for you. In today's video, we will expose the plot they hatched to harm you, but it has now become a bone in their throat. Now they will never be able to experience the peace and satisfaction that the chosen ones enjoy, because they are constantly trying to control external factors instead of working on their own growth. Subscribe to the channel before you get lost in this video. And type 999 in the comments to send your powerful message to the universe. Jealousy is a tool of insecurity. When someone tries to make you jealous, it's important to realize that their actions say more about them than about you. Jealousy, at its core, is a reflection of insecurity. People who are confident and secure in themselves don't feel the need to make others feel bad or compare themselves with others to feel important. Instead, they are content with who they are and don't need to play mind games to get attention or approval. Think about it. When someone is intentionally trying to make you jealous, what they're really doing is seeking control over your emotions. By flaunting their attention on someone else or drawing comparisons between you and others, they are trying to make you feel inadequate. They hope that by making you feel bad, they will gain a sense of power or superiority. This is especially true in relationships or social circles where people may try to stir up drama by showing off who they are talking to or spending time with. But why do they do this? It's because they don't feel secure in their own worth. People who are genuinely happy with themselves don't feel the need to manipulate others for attention. They don't thrive on making others feel less than or causing emotional turmoil. Instead, they are confident enough in who they are that they don't need external validation. When someone tries to make you jealous, it's because they need that validation. It's like they are saying, if I can make you feel envious or upset, then I must be important. But here's the thing. As someone who understands their own worth, you don't need to play into this. You know that your value is not determined by who someone else talks to or what attention they give to others. Your self-esteem doesn't come from external sources like who likes you, who gives you attention, or how others perceive you. Instead, it comes from within. As a chosen one, or someone who is spiritually awakened and self-aware, you understand that true self-worth is something no one can take away from you. When others try to play these emotional games, you can see through it. You realize that their attempts to make you jealous are rooted in their own fears and insecurities. Maybe they feel threatened by you, or maybe they feel like they need to constantly prove themselves. Either way, their actions are a reflection of their own struggles, not yours. Instead of reacting with jealousy, You can respond with compassion and understanding, or simply with indifference. When you choose not to engage in their games, it frustrates them. Why? Because they expected to see you upset or seeking their approval. They wanted you to feel small, but instead, your calm and steady response shows them that you are above their manipulations. You don't need to chase after their attention or feel bad because they chose to give it to someone else. In fact, when you don't react, it sends a powerful message. Your self-worth is not for sale. You know who you are, and no amount of manipulation can change that. This kind of strength is what sets you apart from those who are constantly seeking validation. While they are busy trying to control the emotional reactions of others, you are focused on your own growth and peace of mind. Over time, this kind of emotional manipulation ends up trapping the person who tries to use it. They become stuck in a cycle of constantly needing to stir up jealousy, drama, or competition just to feel important. Meanwhile, you remain centered, unbothered by their antics, and continue to thrive. The truth is, by trying to make you feel small, they only show how small they feel inside, and in the end, they are the ones who become trapped in their own insecurities, while you rise above it all with grace and strength. Jealousy is a tool of insecurity, but when you know your own worth, that tool becomes powerless against you. Chosen ones are immune to manipulation. As a chosen one, you have a unique sense of spiritual awareness and inner strength that makes you immune to manipulation and games that others may try to play with your emotions. This doesn't mean that you don't experience emotions like everyone else, but it does mean that you have a deep understanding of yourself, your purpose, and your worth, which keeps you from being easily influenced or affected by the actions of others. When people try to manipulate or provoke you to make you jealous, they are often looking for some kind of emotional reaction. They want to upset you, make you feel insecure, or force you to question your worth. However, as a spiritually grounded person, you see these attempts for what they are: petty distractions from the truth. You have reached a level of self-awareness where your worth is not tied to someone else's approval, attention, or affection. Being immune to manipulation comes from deep inner confidence. When you truly know yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your purpose, you become unshakable. You understand that other people's opinions or actions do not define you. Your inherent worth does not change whether someone focuses their attention on you or someone else. You do not need external validation to feel whole because you already know who you are and what you stand for. This kind of strength often confuses people who try to manipulate you. They expect you to react, get upset, or feel threatened when they try to make you jealous. They think that by focusing your attention on someone else or creating drama, they can throw you off balance, but instead, their attempts fail. You see through their game, and instead of feeling upset or jealous, you stay calm and composed. Your trust in yourself is so strong that these emotional traps do not affect you. In fact, when people try to play these games with you, it often highlights how much they don't understand the depth of your strength. They don't realize that you're not operating on a superficial level like them. While they're caught up in seeking attention and validation from others, you're focused on your personal growth, your spiritual journey, and your greater purpose in life. Their attempts to manipulate you only reinforce your understanding that their actions are rooted in their own insecurities, not in any shortcomings within you. This immunity to manipulation doesn't come from a place of arrogance or superiority. It comes from a place of self-confidence and inner peace. You know that your worth is not something that others can give or take away. You've done the inner work to understand yourself at your core, and because of this, you're not easily influenced by outside forces. Even more empowering is that this spiritual strength allows you to react with compassion rather than anger or frustration. You see the bigger picture. You understand that those who try to manipulate you are often struggling with their own issues, whether it be insecurity, fear, or a need to control. Rather than getting caught up in their games, you keep your peace and continue on your path, undeterred by their attempts to disrupt your journey. Being the chosen one means having the clarity to see beyond surface-level games and manipulation. It means knowing that your worth comes from within, not from the fleeting attention or opinions of others. You are guided by a deep sense of purpose and power, which frees you from the emotional traps that others may try to lay. This inner resilience allows you to rise above the drama, stay true to yourself, and move forward on your path, unruffled and undeterred. Their attempts to create drama backfire. When people try to create jealousy or stir up drama, they often do so in an attempt to control the emotions and reactions of others. They may want to feel important, powerful, or superior by making you feel envious or insecure. However, this strategy almost always backfires in the end. The more they focus on trying to manipulate others, the more they lose control over their own lives. They become trapped in a web of their own making, one where they constantly seek validation and attention, but never truly find the satisfaction they're looking for. When someone goes out of their way to make you jealous, they may initially feel like they've succeeded if they get a reaction from you. They might enjoy seeing you upset, or feel a sense of triumph if you seem affected by their actions. But this is only a temporary high for them. The deeper issue is that they are basing their self-worth on how much they can influence or control someone else's feelings. This is a very fragile and unstable way to build confidence because it relies entirely on external factors. Sooner or later, this need for control and validation spirals out of control. In trying to manage how others see them, these people often lose touch with their own emotions and relationships. They spend so much time and energy trying to manipulate the situation that they don't realize they are distancing themselves from genuine connections. Rather than forming healthy, balanced relationships, they become consumed by the game of making others feel small or jealous. This obsession with creating drama can lead to a constant cycle of insecurity. The person becomes addicted to seeking validation through their manipulative actions. They need to continually stir the pot, making others feel jealous or inadequate to maintain their sense of self-importance. But in doing so, they isolate themselves. People begin to see through their behavior, and relationships built on drama and manipulation start to crumble. The connections they once valued become strained, and people grow tired of the constant mind games. What they don't realize is that while they're busy playing games, you, the person they're trying to bring down, are quietly rising above it all. You see through their actions and refuse to get drawn into their drama. Instead of reacting with jealousy or anger, you stay grounded, knowing that their attempts to provoke you are meaningless. Your self-worth isn't tied to their attention or approval, and this frustrates them even more. The more they try to control others, the less control they have over their own emotions. They become consumed by their need to prove something to themselves and those around them. But instead of achieving the power or validation they seek, they end up feeling more empty and insecure than before. Their attempts to create drama only highlight their own inner turmoil. Meanwhile, you continue to thrive. By not engaging in their games, you maintain your peace of mind and emotional balance. You don't let their manipulations affect you, because you know that their actions are a reflection of their own insecurities, not a reflection of your worth. Over time, as they become more entangled in their own drama, you remain free and focused on your own growth and well-being. Their efforts to make you jealous or to create drama backfire, because they end up trapped in a cycle of seeking external validation. They lose sight of what truly matters, authentic relationships, personal growth, and inner peace, while you, on the other hand, rise above their attempts and continue on your path with strength and confidence. Their games may provide them with temporary satisfaction, but in the long run, they are the ones who suffer. They become prisoners of their own need for control, while you remain unaffected and empowered. The more they try to bring you down, the higher you rise, and eventually they realize that their efforts were in vain. You cannot be shaken by their tactics because your worth is rooted in something much deeper than their approval. Your detachment frustrates them. When someone tries to make you jealous, they are typically seeking a specific outcome. They want to provoke a reaction from you, whether it's anger, frustration, or insecurity. Their goal is to get under your skin and make you feel threatened. But when you choose to respond with detachment, instead of giving them the emotional reaction they crave, it can be incredibly powerful. Your calm, centered response throws them off balance, and this lack of reaction can frustrate them more than any heated response would. Detachment is a form of emotional control that comes from a place of inner strength and self-awareness. It doesn't mean that you don't care or that you're indifferent to what's happening around you. It means that you are so secure in yourself that you don't need to react to other people's attempts to manipulate your emotions. Instead of getting caught up in their drama, you remain grounded in your own peace. This confuses people who are trying to provoke you because their entire strategy relies on you reacting. When that reaction doesn't come, they don't know what to do. This kind of detachment frustrates them because they lose the power they thought they had over you. When someone tries to make you jealous, they are usually acting from a place of insecurity. They want to feel important or superior by making you feel bad or inadequate. If you give them that reaction, if you get upset or try to compete for their attention, you validate their need for control. But when you don't respond, it shows that their actions have no impact on you. This highlights their own weakness, while at the same time it magnifies your strength. Your detachment is not just about remaining calm in the moment. It's about showing that your self-worth is not dependent on what they do. You are not swayed by who they give attention to, what they say, or how they behave, because you know that your value is intrinsic. You don't need external validation to feel good about yourself, and this is what frustrates them the most. People who play emotional games often thrive on the reactions of others. When you refuse to engage, it disarms them. They are left questioning their own tactics and wondering why they can't affect you the way they hoped. In fact, your ability to stay centered and unbothered can make them feel even more insecure. It forces them to confront their own motivations and insecurities. They start to realize that their attempts to provoke you are not working, which can lead to frustration or even self-doubt. Your calmness and composure act as a mirror, reflecting back their own inner turmoil. It becomes clear that while they are caught up in games of jealousy and competition, you are above it, operating from a place of self-assurance and peace. Moreover, your detachment is a form of quiet strength. It shows that you are in control of your emotions rather than allowing someone else to dictate how you feel or respond. This kind of emotional independence is rare and powerful. It sends a clear message that you are not someone who can be easily manipulated or influenced by others' actions. While they are busy trying to stir up chaos, you remain steady and focused on what truly matters. Over time, this detachment becomes even more frustrating for those trying to make you jealous because they see that their efforts are futile. Instead of achieving the reaction they wanted, they are met with indifference or quiet confidence. This forces them to either give up on their attempts to control you or, in some cases, continue to escalate their behavior in increasingly desperate ways. But no matter how hard they try, your detachment remains a shield that protects you from their emotional games. Your detachment not only frustrates those who try to provoke you, but also strengthens your own sense of peace and self-worth. By refusing to engage in their attempts to manipulate your emotions, you maintain control over your own happiness and well-being. You show that you are not dependent on anyone else's actions for your sense of value, and this in turn reinforces your inner strength. While others may be caught up in their own insecurities, you rise above it all, confident in who you are and unbothered by their attempts to bring you down. They trap themselves in toxicity. When people engage in manipulative behaviors, especially those aimed at creating jealousy, they unknowingly build a toxic environment around themselves. These actions aren't just harmful to the people they target. They end up backfiring and creating long-lasting negative effects on their own lives. What starts as a game of emotional manipulation to feel powerful or in control quickly turns into a cycle that traps them in toxicity, leaving them isolated and unable to form meaningful, healthy connections. At the heart of this problem is the fact that manipulation destroys trust. In any relationship, trust is the foundation for meaningful connection. Whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, or even a professional relationship, trust is essential for people to feel safe, respected, and valued. But when someone constantly plays mind games or tries to manipulate others by stirring up jealousy, they undermine this trust. Over time, people start to see through their behavior and realize that the manipulator's actions are driven by insecurity or a desire for control, rather than genuine care or affection. This breeds suspicion, mistrust, and insecurity in the relationship. Instead of fostering closeness and mutual respect, manipulative tactics create an atmosphere where everyone is on edge, questioning motives and wondering whether they're being used or played. This is no way to build a lasting, healthy bond. Instead of growing closer, the manipulator pushes people away, even if they don't realize it at first. People may initially fall for the manipulative tactics, but eventually they tire of the drama and emotional strain. No one wants to be in a relationship where they feel like they're constantly being tested, compared, or manipulated. Furthermore, the manipulator's need for control often leads them to prioritize superficial connections over deeper, meaningful ones. Their focus is on appearances, who gets the most attention, who can provoke the strongest emotional response, or who seems to win in the game of jealousy. But real relationships aren't about winning or losing. They're about connection, understanding, and mutual respect. By constantly engaging in manipulative tactics, they prevent themselves from forming genuine connections with others because they're too focused on maintaining control and power dynamics. Over time, this behavior becomes a pattern. Instead of building relationships based on love, trust, and honesty, they cultivate an environment filled with insecurity and doubt. The manipulator becomes trapped in this cycle, unable to escape the toxic behaviors they've created. Even if they want to form deeper connections, they find it difficult because they've trained themselves to approach relationships from a place of control and manipulation rather than vulnerability and openness. As people begin to recognize the manipulator's toxic patterns, they naturally start distancing themselves. No one wants to be part of a relationship that feels like a constant emotional chess game. Friends, partners, and colleagues will slowly begin to pull away, realizing that the manipulator is more interested in playing games than in building real connections. The manipulator, in turn, finds themselves increasingly isolated, not because others don't care, but because their own behavior has pushed everyone away. This isolation is often the consequence of their actions. By creating a toxic environment, they have made it nearly impossible for others to trust or invest in them emotionally. Instead of forming the deep, fulfilling bonds that everyone craves, they end up lonely, trapped in their own web of manipulation. The very tactics they use to feel powerful and in control end up leaving them powerless, cut off from the genuine relationships they might have had. The manipulator's efforts to create jealousy and control others do nothing but backfire. They may feel a fleeting sense of satisfaction or power in the moment, but the long-term consequences are far more damaging. By constantly manipulating others, they create a toxic environment that eventually drives people away. They lose out on the opportunity to form real, lasting connections, and instead, they find themselves trapped in a cycle of loneliness and isolation, with no one left to manipulate but themselves. Their own behavior becomes their undoing, as the toxicity they've created ultimately consumes them. Your self-worth is internal, not external. As a chosen one, you possess a deep understanding that your self-worth comes from within, not from external factors like attention or approval from others. This internal confidence is what sets you apart from those who rely on outside validation to feel important or valued. While some people seek constant affirmation from others, trying to measure their worth based on who notices them or how much attention they receive, you know that true self-worth is something that no one else can define or give you. It's a quiet, unshakable force that resides within you, and this makes you immune to emotional manipulation. Many people fall into the trap of basing their self-esteem on external circumstances. They might feel good about themselves when they are praised or admired, but that feeling fades when the attention shifts elsewhere. This creates a roller coaster of emotions where they are constantly looking to others to reinforce their sense of value. The problem with this approach is that it makes them vulnerable. When their worth is tied to how much attention they get, they become easy targets for manipulation. Anyone who wants to control them simply has to withhold or redirect attention, and suddenly they feel less valuable or insecure. But as someone who has developed an internal sense of worth, you are not swayed by these external forces. Your confidence is rooted in who you are, not in how others perceive you. This means that when someone tries to make you jealous by giving attention to someone else or by creating drama, it doesn't affect you the way they expect it to. You don't feel the need to compete for their attention or prove your worth because you already know it. You don't need their validation to feel whole, and this is incredibly empowering. This internal self-worth acts as a shield against emotional manipulation. When someone tries to play games with your emotions, you can see through it because you are grounded in your own sense of value. You understand that their actions, whether they are trying to make you jealous, insecure, or doubtful, have nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own insecurities. They are seeking validation from others, trying to boost their self-esteem by controlling the emotional responses of those around them. But because your worth isn't dependent on what they do, you remain calm and unaffected. In contrast, those who seek external validation are often left feeling empty and unsettled. Their self-worth fluctuates based on the opinions and actions of others, leaving them in a constant state of insecurity. They might feel good when they receive attention, but the moment it's gone, they begin to question themselves. This creates a cycle of seeking approval, where they are always looking outward for something to affirm their value. It's a fragile foundation because it's built on something they can't control: other people's reactions. As a chosen one, your foundation is solid because it's built on something unchangeable: your understanding of your own worth. You know that no one can take that away from you, no matter how they act or what they say. This doesn't mean you are unaffected by the world around you, but it does mean that your core sense of self remains intact regardless of external circumstances. You can face challenges, criticism, or manipulation without losing sight of who you are, because your value isn't up for debate. This kind of confidence often confuses and frustrates those who try to manipulate you. They expect you to react, to feel hurt or insecure, but when you don't, it throws them off balance. They don't understand how you can remain so calm and centered when they are doing everything they can to provoke you. The truth is, your inner peace comes from knowing that your worth is not tied to their actions. You don't need to prove anything to anyone because you already know who you are and what you're worth. In a world where so many people are seeking approval from others, being able to draw your self-worth from within is a rare and powerful gift. It allows you to navigate life with a sense of confidence and security that can't be shaken by external forces. While others are caught up in games of jealousy and validation, you remain focused on your own growth and well-being. Your self-worth is your strength, and it allows you to rise above the drama and manipulation that others may try to pull you into. In the end, you rise while they fall. In the end, those who engage in manipulative tactics to create jealousy ultimately set themselves up for failure. Manipulation is a short-term game, and while it may offer them a fleeting sense of control or power, it comes at a great cost. The people who use these tactics become so engrossed in their emotional games that they lose sight of what truly matters in life: meaningful relationships, personal growth, and inner peace. As a chosen one, you have a deeper sense of purpose and self-worth, which allows you to rise above the negativity. While they are trapped in their superficial world, you continue to ascend, focusing on your growth, purpose, and spiritual path. People who rely on manipulative behavior, especially those aimed at making others jealous, are often deeply insecure. They measure their value by how much they can control or influence the emotions of others. In their minds, winning someone's attention or provoking a reaction makes them feel validated, even if only temporarily. However, this kind of validation is hollow and unsustainable. It doesn't lead to real fulfillment, and over time, it leaves them feeling more empty and disconnected than ever before. Instead of building meaningful relationships based on trust and respect, they get stuck in a cycle of superficial interactions, constantly needing to prove their worth by playing mind games with others. As a chosen one, your focus is entirely different. Your sense of self-worth isn't dependent on how others react to you or how much attention they give you. You understand that your value is intrinsic, and it comes from your inner strength, your purpose, and your connection to something greater than yourself. This deeper understanding allows you to stay centered and grounded, even when others try to pull you into their drama. You don't get caught up in the emotional turbulence that others create, because you know that their actions are a reflection of their own insecurities, not a reflection of your worth.